Leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses isn't just a single event. It's actually a long process of rebuilding your life from the ground up. For many people, you often lose your community, your family, your identity all at once. The good news is there is a beautiful and authentic life waiting for you on the other side. I know this from experience. It does, however, help to have a roadmap. So, today, what we're going to be doing is focusing on three crucial strategies: reclaiming your mental health, rebuilding your social world, and rediscovering who you really are. Because let's be real, all of that fear mongering about Armageddon, it doesn't just switch off the moment that you leave. For some people, this can leave you in a state of chronic high alert for even a time period after walking away. So, what's the practical first step? Well, find a therapist. And I know it might be cliche and some people are against it, but if you do choose to go that route, there's an important catch to that. You need to find a therapist who has experience with religious trauma or cult recovery, something of that nature, because there's a lot of well meaning counselors and therapists, but they don't really have the context to understand where you're coming from. And you don't want to be wasting your sessions trying to get them to see where you're coming from exactly. You more so want them to kind of have at least a general understanding of what you might be dealing with. Basically, somebody who already gets it. There's even some therapists who specialize in deprogramming. And what they can do is help you dismantle those thought processes that you've pretty much installed within yourself over all those years of indoctrination. And another thing about therapists, guys, understand it might take one, two, maybe even three therapists to get it right. I had one therapist, it was a lady. She was very, very nice. I'll give her that, but I think she was in a cult her own self. I mean, it got to the point where every single thing that I would relate to her, if it was either negative or positive, it was always, Jesus will find a way. Look at Jesus. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against anyone and what their personal beliefs are. But coming from where I was coming from, the last thing I needed was somebody who's going to be trying to, I don't know, throw that type of narrative in my face all of the time and attribute everything to that. It even got to the point where this lady was breaking out in full gospel songs during the session. Like, she'd start singing to me, no lie. And so if you are going to pick a therapist and use that as a means of your recovery journey, just be mindful of who you're dealing with. Another mental health tactic, if therapy is not an option right now, start journaling. I know, again, another one that might sound cliche, it might sound simple, but it's actually an effective way to untangle all of those knots inside of your head. Basically, you just write it all down: the grief, the anger, the confusion, even any amount of joy that you may experience. Let yourself feel those emotions. Because when you were at the Kingdom Hall, anytime you had negative feelings, you were taught that that was spiritually weak. But now it's the time to take those feelings and actually use them as a compass. You can actually use those feelings to your benefit by just sitting there in them and letting them guide you to where you need to go next. Another tactic that I use right to this day is mindfulness. And it doesn't have to be some big, spiritual thing. It could just be 5 minutes. You can look it up on YouTube: mindfulness meditation or mindfulness activity. All it's doing is it's telling you, like, hey, I was over there and now I'm here. I'm safe. I'm good. It's basically just a grounding technique. Strategy 2: rebuilding your social world. One of the most painful realities of leaving is the loneliness that you may experience. You're not just missing people, you're now trying to navigate a world that you were taught to fear. You see, every worldly person was painted as a bad influence. So it's like, how do you even start making friends? This right now is something that I even still struggle with, guys. Like, I have been fortunate to be able to make friends outside of the organization, but when I was in, I had a handful of brothers that I would roll with. And so, as awkward as they may have been, or annoying, or whatever idiosyncrasies they had about themselves, like those were my guys. Like that's all that I knew. That's how I came up. And so when that's no longer there, it can present some challenges. So what I would say is start small. If you had any non-JW relatives or friends, now is the time to reconnect with them. That's what I did. I started getting closer to my sister, who was a non believer. I had friends who we were kind of friends, but you limit the association. I started reaching out to them more. And you could just send them a message. It's like, hey, I've been going through some life changes. I'd love to catch up with you. And even something simple like that can start to open that door back up for you. Next, you want to find people who are based on your interest and not your beliefs. Think about maybe a hobby or something that you had, and maybe you had to give it up out of fear of bad association. It could even be a book club, it could be a volunteer opportunity. I know I had the privilege of being able to volunteer at a local spot. I met some pretty cool people just doing that. I'm not going to say we're the closest of friends or lifelong buddies, but again, it's just these small steps that get you back out there after you've left your situation with the Jehovah's Witnesses. You want to think about low pressure situations where friendships can just naturally happen. Basically, you want to go places and deal with people where it's not about explaining your past, it's just about what it's about. Like, for example, I enjoy playing chess. Chess is something that I learned maybe like a year and a half ago. And I attend a chess club, once a week. And when you go there, it ain't about what type of talk you're given or any changes that were made, or it's not about none of that stuff. It's just about chess. Again, a low pressure environment where you can just be yourself and you can just connect with other people. And some people will tell me like, oh, well, I don't like chess, I play checkers. Well, I mean, that's fine. It doesn't matter if it's chess, checkers, or any other activity for that matter. The point is inserting yourself into these situations, because you'll come to find that, hey, this person don't go to Kingdom Hall, this person wasn't a Jehovah's Witness, and they're not slumped over in an alley somewhere pissy drunk and shoot needles in their arm. Like, there's actually friendly and compassionate people that you can meet outside of the organization. A big one that you can actually do is the JW or the ex-JW community online, especially in those earlier days when you're first leaving. That can be like a lifeline, because there's thousands of people there who know exactly what you were going through. There's various Facebook groups out here that you can join specifically for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's a means to connect with other people who understand you and are not really going to be passing judgment on you. But whatever you choose to do, I would say just do it. It's not just about deconstructing, guys, it's about reconstructing as well. And it does not matter what the age group is. Some people might feel like, okay, well, I'm a little older. I've already given 20, 30 plus years to Watchtower. And so now you just kind of, just sort of passive and just, maybe just have some built up animosity towards the Watchtower, and you kind of live in that. But I'm here to tell you, don't do it. Like, It's okay to do that, but don't make your life all about that. As long as you're still breathing, you can get out here and build yourself a new community, a new social circle, whether that's in person or whether that's online virtually. Strategy 3: discovering your true identity. You see, as a Jehovah's Witness, you don't really discover your identity. You basically have an identity handed to you. So everything's based on how many doors you knock on, whatever your title is in the congregation, how perfectly you follow the rules. Your self worth was tied to your service and the organization. So when you walk away from that, it's like that structure pretty much vanishes. It can lead to an identity crisis to the point where you're just asking yourself, like, who am I really without all of those things? And the answer is you get to decide. That might be one of the hardest parts of the journey, but it's also one of the most beautiful parts because now you're not suppressing your identity anymore. You're actually discovering it. A great first step is to start reclaiming your right to choose. Make a list. Take all the things that you were never allowed to do. Celebrate your birthday. Guys, I've had some amazing birthdays since I've left the Watchtower organization, okay? Guilt free. Cupcakes and all. All right? Celebrate holidays. Biggest turkey in the grocery store you can find. No problem, okay? No shame. All right? Read banned books. Playboy, I don't know. I don't think Playboy is a thing anymore. But you get my drift. Even watching certain movies without guilt. Maybe there's a movie that you were curious about, but you couldn't watch it because of the R rating on the video on the movie. I spoke about a guy in a previous video about Brother Buffet and how he used to like R-rated movies, but you can't really enjoy them because if you have other Jehovah's Witnesses over to your house, they eyeballing your bookshelf and trying to see what you got, and then going back telling other members they seen you with R-rated movies and all that type of stuff. Guys, you don't have to live like that anymore, okay? Each small act of freedom is you taking your power back. It's basically you reclaiming your life one choice at a time. And these things, I'm telling you, they feel empowering. I recently was able to celebrate my daughter's birthday with her. And that was something that I had never really did. Definitely not in the organization, but even after leaving. Because it's like, if you never really had that anyway, it's like you don't really miss it. So even when I walked away, I wasn't huge on birthdays because I just never, I never cared about it because I was never allowed to. But it was a great feeling to the point where it almost brought tears to my eyes, not from sadness, but just because I was doing something for her and with her that wasn't about the organization. I wasn't celebrating her, giving her first talk, or making it to unbaptized publisher or any of that stuff. It was just celebrating her being alive. Like, you're alive, you're my daughter, I want to celebrate you, I want you to be happy, I want you to enjoy yourself. These are normal things that can bring a person great joy and that you most likely did not get to experience while you were in the Jehovah's Witness organization. And finally, I would just say explore your passions. What is it that you love to do years ago before that indoctrination really set in? Was it art? Was it science? Was it music? I had a little cousin who was very much into science growing up. And I remember my family telling them, like, "Oh, scientists don't. What did they say? Scientists don't believe in and scientists don't believe in Jehovah or something they were telling them, but basically shot it down. Kid never talked about science again, okay? But he's a ministerial servant now, giving public talks and doing everything they want him to do. So I guess it worked out in their favor. But go back to those things, the things that you loved. Take a class, go to a museum, learn how to play guitar, learn a language. Like I've been on this app called Duolingo, and no, I'm not selling it or and sponsoring it or nothing like that. It's just an app that I discovered where you could learn how to speak a foreign language. I've been picking up Spanish on Duolingo. Like, there's so many things you can do. It's not just about finding a hobby, it's about reconnecting with yourself and who you really are, or who you could have been or wanted to be before your identity got reshaped for you. All in all, it's about finally becoming whole, okay? It's where who you are on the inside and how you live on the outside can finally match. And I'm gonna be straight up with you. This whole process of recovering, mentally and rebuilding and rediscovering yourself, it's not gonna be a straight line, guys. It's gonna have some good days and it's gonna have some bad days. Like, you are going to experience some grief from the family and the friends that you lost. Even the brothers I was talking about earlier. Like, I would be lying if I said that I don't miss those guys sometimes. Like, we had some really fun times when we were all hanging together. Even my family, there's quite a few family members that I truly miss. There's also just going to be moments of rage, like just anger. Like, I know that if you haven't seen my video about the indoctrination driving me to the edge, then you can check that out, because that's a whole nother story for another day. But that rage, like, it'll hit you because you feel like your years were stolen. Like, and to a degree, they were. But with all of that being the case, there's still going to be moments of joy and freedom that you could have never imagined before. And so, you've already survived the hardest part. You found the courage to question, you stood up, and you walked away. Now, that same strength is going to carry you through this next chapter. And just remember, you are a resilient person, okay? You had to be. Like, to put up with JW and their crap, you had to have been a resilient person. This is a fact, okay? And so, again, now you're going to use that same resiliency to focus on reconstructing your life and making it into something that's enjoyable and authentic. The road to recovery after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses is a long path, but it doesn't have to be a lonely path. So with that being said, I want to invite you to leave a comment, and I want you to share one thing that you're doing or you plan to do that's going to be reclaiming a piece of your life. Okay, it could be something as small as buying yourself a birthday cake or signing up for some sort of musical class or something that you wanted to do. Whatever it is, let's build each other up. Let's do these things, whatever it may be. And you may be helping someone else along the way with your comment. And remember, you deserve support. You deserve to heal. And ultimately, you deserve a life that is truly your own. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. If you appreciate me sharing it, then do me a favor and gently tap that like button. I've put links in the description to some support resources. If you feel the need to use them, please do so. And so for now, dodge the tower, claim your power, and I'll see you on the next one.